condos.
He grabbed the keys, and I said, those are my keys. I need my keys back. I didn't know if he was going to keep my house key or my car key, what he was going to do. I reached for them. He grabbed both his hands on top of the keychain, and my hands were in there, and he started going like this and shaking it and going, it's mine, it's mine, it's my keychain, it's mine, it's my keys. And I said, let go of me, you're hurting my hand.
Also today,
I know the pain that that vehicle meant to her and the memories that she had, and there was no way I could get involved with Lisa and own that vehicle.
a tragedy, 2 lovers, and a diamond ring.
Was it painful for you to sell my son's car and keep the money, George? How were you able to do that?
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is her courtroom. This is Judge Judy.
All parties on Breslow versus Davis. Step forward, please.
Dana Braslow says Don Davis stiffed her on her commission for selling 2 condos, and her keys were missing.
Order. All rise. Order. Your Honor, this is number 65 on the calendar in the matter of Breslow versus Davis. Be seated.
Ms. Breslow, you were a part-time real estate broker. You worked for the defendant, correct?
Yes.
And you closed, you didn't close, you sold a couple of apartments.
And condos.
And condos.
And closed them.
Well, they had not completely closed yet, according to your papers, when you went on vacation.
Right, there was about 5 days left.
So you went on vacation while these 2 matters were pending in the office, but you say in your papers...
No, not vacation. It was not vacation. I had to go out of town. I had to help a friend move out here from the East Coast.
Listen, you weren't there. You left...
But it was something I couldn't change the date on. It had been planned way before these even went into escrow.
Listen to me. You left while these 2 closings had not yet finalized.
Mm-hmm.
So far, is that correct, Mr. Davis?
That's correct.
She worked for you.
That's correct.
She sold these 2 condos, whatever they were, condos, co-ops.
She didn't sell them. She actually listed them with the assistance of other people in the office.
Mr. Davis, I'm not a stupid person. I know what a real estate broker does.
Right.
She found a buyer.
She listed the property for sale, Your Honor.
It was
a buyer
her case,
was found.
correct?
Her deal, yes.
Her deal.
Yes.
We're not going to play semantics here. I don't have time for that, sir. It's her deal, but she left before the final period was put on the papers and the money exchanged.
That's correct.
She says she left, and she left the files in good order. All somebody had to do was go in there and say, thank you very much, give me my check. According to your response, there were a lot of things, a lot of details that were left undone. As a result of which, according to your complaint, Ms. Breslow, you came back from vacation, you found that he had deposited some money into your account as payment, but there was some money missing that he had taken out for work that he says either he or another staff member had done. So far, is that the gist of this lawsuit, the money part?
Yeah. When I told his wife that I was going out of town, she said, would you like us to put your commission check in the bank for you while you're gone? And I thought, okay, good, that'll help me out. I can pay my rent when I get back. Well, when I checked on the deposit in the bank, you know, like $500 of it that I was counting on to pay my rent and my bills were not in there.
Okay.
When I got back, I came in and asked him about it, and that's when he told me that he didn't want me to work there anymore. He didn't owe me an explanation for anything. He didn't have any proof of anything. He did not provide me with pay stubs, which they usually always do with the sales.
Your Honor,
I was asking, where are they? Then he grabbed my keychain when Nadine came in, because they play together. She handed me something. I stood
just a
up.
second. What's a Nadine?
Nadine is his wife.
Okay.
And she's
Your
the
Honor,
co-owner.
this is completely out of line.
Mr. Davis, I'm going to get to you in a second.
Okay.
He grabbed my keychain, started going through there because he said he wanted his office key back. He was afraid I was going to steal from him now, all of a sudden. I was going to take his office equipment or something. He needed the key.
Where were your keys?
It was on a key ring, and it was on my chair, sitting there, talking to him in his office. When Nadine came in, she gave me a piece of paper that she hand wrote of all the reasons that supposedly he took $500 out of my commission. I stood up to reach it from her, and he grabbed my keychain off of my chair, my personal keychain.
Okay, and what happened when he grabbed the keychain off the chair?
The office key was not even on there. He had no right.
What happened?
I said, Those are my keys. With his personality, he had already walked up to me once and grabbed a coffee cup out of my hand after he told me to get coffee. He said, I can't give you an explanation right now. Go get a cup of...
Explanations are not true.
This is the second time he was approaching me physically.
These are simply not true.
Keys.
Okay.
Let's see. Not coffee.
Okay. I want you to know this was the second time he physically approached me. He grabbed the keys, and I said, those are my keys. I need my keys back. I didn't know if he was going to keep my house key or my car key, what he was going to do. I reached for them. He grabbed both his hands on top of the keychain, and my hands were in there, and he started going like this and shaking it and going, it's mine, it's mine, it's my keychain, it's mine, it's my keys. And I said, let go of me, you're hurting my hand. Nadine was standing there watching, not doing anything, not breaking it up or anything. I said, let go, you are hurting my hand. The key was poking into my finger. I mean, he's 6 foot, whatever, you know.
You're on less than 6 feet.
So what happened to you? What happened?
So Nadine had to grab it away from him and say, Dawn, you're acting ridiculous. That's enough. After it seemed like 10 minutes.
All right, so let's
Could I explain this?
And my finger was bleeding, and I had to go to the emergency room. And
Which finger was bleeding?
My left. And I showed her. I asked her for a Band-Aid. She walked away from me.
Now, Mr. Davis, did I promise you we were going to get to your
Thank
side,
you, Your
sir?
Honor. I do appreciate it.
All right. Now, I want you to listen to me.
Certainly.
This is my little home here.
Yes.
Why did you take the money from her commission check?
Okay, Your Honor.
In 10 seconds, sir.
10 seconds. I have the documentation, Dana's acceptance of our office policy, our contracts. When people go on vacation without notice and leave work for others to do without providing for something to be taken care of, we can deduct up to 50% of their commission. She's agreed to this in writing 2 or 3 times.
Let me hear about the thumb incident,
I
sir.
asked Dana for her keys to the office. She refused to give them to me.
What did she say?
I can't remember for word, but she refused to give me the keys. I said, Dana, those are my keys. I provide them to you so you can come in. You're no longer welcome to come into the office. You're terminated as of this point, and I want your key back to secure the office. She wouldn't give me the key, but she left her key ring sitting on a chair when she got up and walked over to my wife on the other side of the room. So I got up and went over and picked up the key ring and was looking for the office key. Dana grabbed it and hurt herself. Then Dana tried to stick her finger in my hand, and I let go. That's all there is to it. If there was an attack, it's Dana that made the attack, and Dana needs to learn a good lesson here.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Somebody had to do the work, the closing work on that case, the work that usually takes place at a closing when everybody gets together. Nobody did that, and they deducted $200 from your commissions for each one of those.
There was no...
I don't think anybody, Miss Breslow, takes advantage of you, quite frankly.
Dana Braslow says Don Davis stiffed her on her commission for selling 2 condos, and her keys were missing.
You sold 2 apartments, you went away on vacation, you had signed an office policy manual that says that you can deduct up to 50% of your commissions if you don't let him know when you're going away. Now, your evasive answers suggest to me that you did not, in fact, advise. Do not interrupt me, Miss Breslow. I don't think anybody, Miss Breslow, takes advantage of you, quite frankly. So, I think that he was entitled to deduct the $400 commission. The thrust of this case, however, because we're not really talking about $400, we're talking about the $4,600 that you're suing for your cut thumb. And I want to tell you something, that the stories that you both tell are diametrically opposed.
That's correct.
I believe his. I believe that you got very upset when he went through the keys trying to find the office key, and that you went and grabbed the keys, and that there may have been some sort of a minor struggle over those keys, but that he had no intention of injuring you, that there was an altercation over the keys when he was trying to secure his office. So therefore, it is the judgment of this court that the case is dismissed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. Step out, please.
And now, the next case.
Parties on Olga.
And now, the next case.
Parties on Adam versus Musser. Step forward, please.
William Adams says he and his ex-wife, Shannon Musser, borrowed money from his grandmother to buy a car. She says it's his car. He can keep it, and he can pay for it.
You 2 folks used to be married,
Correct.
now divorced.
Correct.
According to your complaint, sir, the defendant, while you were still married, borrowed $2,500 from your grandmother in order to purchase a car. When you separated and divorced, she agreed to assume that debt.
Correct.
And to pay your grandmother the $2,500. She didn't pay it. You did. You want the money back.
Correct.
Anything else you want to tell me?
I think that about sums it up.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So, let's hear your side.
Well, I did not borrow the money from his grandmother. He wanted to trade in one of his vehicles and my vehicle to get rid of one of the vehicles so that our car payments would be lower. So he went down and he made arrangements to get a new car. And he made the arrangements with his grandmother to borrow the down payment for the vehicle. I did not. I didn't even want the car. I wanted to keep my car. There was no reason for not keeping my car.
Mm-hmm. But you agreed to pay this amount. Do you have your judgment of divorce? Does it talk about this $2,500
Yes,
in
I
the
do.
judgment of divorce?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see the papers, please?
Is this copy good enough?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. It's a certified copy by the court. How long were you two married?
4 years, 3 months.
How many days?
Does it matter at this point?
No, it's just that you sort of knew that right away.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
When I confronted Bill on this, he told me that I was dumb for not putting his grandmother into bankruptcy. So,
Is that right?
I remember the conversation. I said, yeah, if you're listing your debts, list all your debts. So there again, she signed another court document stating that she owed the money to her.
William Adams says he and his ex-wife Shannon Musser borrowed money from his grandmother to buy a car. She says it's his car. He can keep it and he can pay for it.
Were you represented by counsel when you were divorced?
no,
Why not?
because supposedly we were divorcing on good terms.
Well, you have a whole agreement here.
I can clarify
was-
on that. I can clarify on that, if you'd like.
I probably would have divorced him too.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead. Go. Clarify.
Because of the money situation we were in, I had a little more money than her. So we did do it together. We split the debts up. We agreed to it. That's what we signed. Because of financial reasons, it was easier for me to pay the attorney and just let me default against her. We kind of worked on it together. That way she didn't have to pay respondent's fees and attorney's fees. It saved her about $4 grand.
And you were supposed to take care of all the debts that were under your name. Wells Fargo for Dodge automobile, a medical bill from medical fund, another bill from another medical firm, Chevron, Internal Revenue Service, and Sizes Unlimited,
Correct.
and personal loan with Jacqueline Wright.
Correct.
And I assume that that personal loan was the $2,500. Is that right?
Correct.
Well, that's what you agreed to.
Yes, I did agree to it.
So you agreed to it. That's what you signed. You got divorced. You got a judgment. The judgment says you have to pay it. So you got to pay it.
Well, unfortunately, I was unable to pay for it because I got pregnant and I had problems with my pregnancy, and I had to quit my job. Therefore, 2 months after I had signed that, I went ahead and claimed bankruptcy because my money got cut in half because of the disability, was not paying me enough. So when I confronted Bill on this, he told me that I was dumb for not putting his grandmother into bankruptcy. I then the next day called my attorney and he filed an amendment Schedule F to it, which I did then put her in it. And that was the end of the conversation. We had agreed to that. He never told me he was going to pay it. We didn't never discuss it. He said I was dumb for not putting her into the bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Is that right?
I remember the conversation. I said, yeah, if you're listing your debts, list all your debts. I mean, that's under bankruptcy laws. You have to list all of the debts that you owe. So there again, she signed another court document stating that she owed the money to her.
that is correct.
Well, but first, you see, you told me two different stories so far, Ms. Musser. First, you told me that you didn't want the car. It really wasn't your car. It was his car.
Well,
you didn't want the debt. Well, you know, first you told me that story. So that when that didn't wash, now you told me that you don't owe the money because you put his grandmother's name in your bankruptcy that you filed 2 months after you agreed to pay all these bills. I mean, all these bills that you agreed to pay, you didn't pay?
No, ma'am.
Well, that
They all
sounds
came out.
outrageous to me. And I mean, all of these financial burdens came upon you within 8 weeks of you signing this document?
Actually, yes, I had a very hard pregnancy. I was in the emergency room twice within 2 months, and they put me on medical disability. I did not have a choice. I would not have...
Of course you have a choice. Your choice is you call up and you defer the payments of those bills for 6 months, for 8 months.
Nobody was willing to work with me on that.
How do you know that?
Because I did make phone calls.
Did
and
you
I tried
call
to make
his grandmother?
No, I did not.
Well, if you didn't call his grandmother, then I'm not sure that you called anybody else in 8 weeks. And sometimes people go into bankruptcy because they think it's a fast way out of their problems.
No, I don't think that, ma'am.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Before you go into bankruptcy, which negatively affects your credit for a substantial portion of your adult life,
Correct.
you give it more than 8 weeks' worth of consideration, which is, according to you, what you gave it. 8 weeks of consideration. Well, I can't pay this. It's very hard. Things aren't going right for me. I'm going to file bankruptcy, and then I'm going to start all over again. That's not the way it's supposed to work.
I did not file bankruptcy until March of 1996, so it was quite a few months afterwards.
You just told me 2 months later you filed.
I was considering it.
So if you were considering it, then you weren't paying any of these bills, and you didn't pay any of these bills.
No, I continued to pay the bills up until the date I filed bankruptcy.
Did you pay back his grandmother anything?
No, because we had not made a payment arrangement yet between the two of us.
What kind of payment arrangement?
Well, I don't know. I didn't have $2,500 just to write her a check.
Did you send her $100? Did you send her $200?
No, I did not.
Well, right now.
didn't have
Can I see the
25.
proof that you paid your grandmother, please?
I didn't have 25 either. It took me a year to pay her.
Do you have a child now?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. I assume not his.
No.
You working now?
I just started a job. Yes, I did.
Very good. You have to pay back this debt. You owe it, and you have to pay it back. That's what being responsible is. When a marriage dissolves, he took half of the debts, you took half the debts, or I don't know how it was allocated, but you seemed satisfied. You seemed satisfied with it when you signed it. And then, according to you, within a couple of weeks, you just decided, I'm not going to pay. That's unacceptable. It's not the way mature people do business. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
I don't think that he deserved the money. The debt was established between the two of us, and I do not think that he deserved it. I told him that I would pay that money back because I wanted him to quit harassing me by phone and by person. Threatening me, his girlfriend called me on the phone. I mean, I just don't think it was fair.
She never filed a restraining order. She felt so threatened, she should have.
Because you told me a restraining order was not a bulletproof vest, because they wouldn't stop you from what you wanted to do.
You have way too much free time. You need to get a job.
Oh my God. He just said he would find me wherever I was.
I paid my...
Mary, you are his mother.
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, you lived for a period of time with your boyfriend and his mother, and you made each of them a series of loans. His mother at some point told you to leave the house. You left. You want your money. Each of the defendants say that they owe you nothing. Money that you gave Miss Neary was for expenses, your expenses while you lived in the house. And her son James says anything that you gave him were gifts because he took care of certain things for you. When did you move in with Miss Neary and her son?
In June of 2004.
And what were you doing at the time?
At the time, I was working for Forever 21.
Now, tell me about the first loan you made to Mrs. Neary.
The loan I had made to Mrs. Neary was for $2,000. She said she had needed it for the down payment on the house that we were going to move into. She stated that she had asked her dad to borrow the money, and he had said no, and that I was the last resort, and if I couldn't loan her the money, we would have nowhere to live.
Where had you been living?
I had been living with them in an apartment.
So you all wanted to move someplace else together. Did you sign the lease?
Yes, I did.
On the new place?
On the new place, yes. I was told that I was not going to be a renter on the house, and that the only reason why I needed to sign the paperwork was because I was over 18.
You have a copy of the lease?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Well, the three of you were clearly on the lease, right?
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, you read this document, didn't you?
I didn't read the whole thing, no.
Why not?
Because she said she needed it signed, and so she stated that.
Miss
you know.
Ellsworth, you go to school?
Yes,
What school do you go to?
Bakersfield College.
I assume that at least in your spare time when you were younger, you watched a little television?
Yes, I do.
You watched enough courtroom television to know that you're not supposed to sign something that you don't read?
Yes.
So let's not play with each other. So you signed it.
Yes.
And you should have read it. And if you didn't read it, that's not my problem.
Yeah. I did pay rent on the house.
Until you were evicted.
Yes, pretty much.
How much was security and the deposit on this apartment?
I think altogether was like $1,800. I'm not quite sure.
$1,850.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that money from?
From her, because the reason why we had to move from the apartment, because I was at the apartment for over a year already. I came home one day from work, and she was living in my apartment. I told my son, look, this cannot work. You know, I don't want her living here. You know, she has a home. She told me she had nowhere to go because her mom was an abusive mother. So, you know, I kind of felt sorry for her. So the next thing I knew, her dog Louie, she has a little dog Louie, he was tearing up the curtains and everything. So I'm a single mommy. I couldn't just come up with that money just to move. So, you know, I had no choice. I asked my dad, and my dad goes, well, it's your fault. You should have never let her move in. You know, why you have to move. Because the reason why we had to move, because she wasn't on the lease. It was breach of contract, they said.
I can understand if you're moving in together, she's on the lease, she should pay a third of $1,850.
Okay, we moved in that home after we got kicked out of the apartment.
Listen to me.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to get kicked out of the apartment. All you have to do is put the two of them out.
He was
and you
on,
can stay.
Right. Well,
He's not going anywhere without her. You could stay. Put them out.
No, she said we had to move.
Listen to me.
Uh-huh.
$1,850. Only a third of that. She's on the lease. Only a third of that is hers.
Right.
Why did you throw her out?
I didn't throw her out. She was there. Her and my son were always arguing. It got to the point where I'd come out of work and I didn't want to go home anymore. She was possessive with my son, very possessive with my son.
Did you tell her to leave?
I did not tell her she had to leave. She got upset because I came home one day, the place was dirty. I figured if I'm working, in their home, they should at least have the place clean. We got in an argument. My son heard me say, me and my son arguing. She got up and she left. I didn't verbally say, oh, Aubrey, you have to leave.
She had told me all the time that I had brought sin into her house and that I was bringing chaos and that she didn't want me living there. Her son told me numerous times, I don't have to leave, it's you that has to leave. My mom doesn't want you living here. She threatened to kick him out all the time. She threatened to kick me out all the time just to have, in my opinion, a control.
What?
First of all, my mom never kicked her out. Me and Aubrey used to argue a lot. Yeah, we did.
So it's a good thing she left, right?
No, I don't know if it's a good thing
Listen to what I said. Stop thinking about what you're going to say next and start listening to my question. So it's a good thing that she left.
Yes.
For the sake
Stop.
of argument,
I'm speaking to you.
Hey.
Yeah, give him a good one.
Okay.
So it's a good thing that she left.
Yes, but she wasn't told to leave.
No, it came to her by mental telepathy, like Karnak, you know. You wanted her to leave, and your mother wanted her to leave.
Honestly, no, I didn't want her to leave. Honestly, no, I didn't.
He was upset and crying. I didn't ask her to leave because she was still on the lease. It was up to, like, I think March. She left on her own. She came out storming, and she left on her own. That's the honest to God.
All right, you got $1,850, Miss Ellsworth. That she has to give you back. I don't believe. How old are you?
In my 30s, late 30s.
30, in my 30s, late 30s.
Yeah.
What kind of an answer is that? How old are you?
39.
She's 18. You're 21 years her senior. She doesn't support you. You take care of her. All right. Don't go into little things with me. I'm not interested in little things. What does he owe you for?
He owes me for his truck. I helped him fix his truck. I got him a new tire, which was $76. And then I had helped him fix his truck because he had gotten rear-ended February of 2004. He could not...
February of 2004?
Yes.
Where were you for the last year?
I've been trying to collect it. We didn't get the truck, though, starting to fix until September.
Does that make sense to you?
She didn't give me all the money.
What did she give you?
I paid her half of the money back.
What did she give you is my question.
All she gave me was $150 because I paid $150 of it back to her, so it totaled out to $300, and with my $150 coming back to her, it canceled out. And then I went and paid a couple months of rent for her that she didn't pick up on. And this whole thing, we both assumed that we were just going to break it off even like that. Because, like, I mean, we were living together, and it's like, then when we break up, she goes, oh, well, now you owe me for this and you owe me for that.
Do you want to know something, Mr. Sanchez?
Yeah.
I agree with you. How's that?
I mean, like,
agree with you.
I honestly believe if we were still together...
Just a second. Give it to him good.
I honestly...
Give it to him good. Miss
I
Neary.
honestly...
Miss Neary. Good. Give it to him good. Because he doesn't get it. I just said I agree with you.
Okay.
Stop. No more. Listen to your mother.
Can I just add one last thing then?
Why do you want to add something? I just said I agree with you. You want to tell her you love her? You want to get married? You want to propose to her here?
No, I already have
Then just listen to your mother.
girlfriend.
Your mother's telling you to shut up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It wasn't my truck.
Listen, Miss
You didn't
Ellsworth.
have a car for a while, and I was
Mr.
driving
Sanchez,
you working
you
back.
want your mother to slap you upside the head?
And later today,
She was stealing from the casino.
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody forces you to steal now.
Well, this gentleman here did.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Aubrey Ellsworth says both her ex-boyfriend and his mother owe her money. James Sanchez and Joanne Neri claim Aubrey is controlling and possessive.
When you're in a relationship and you had $100 here and $76 there and $40 there and $50 there, courts don't want to get involved with that if the relationship doesn't work out.
It wasn't my truck.
I don't care whose truck it was. It wasn't my truck.
You drove it.
It was a truck that
Like
you
it was
at least
yours?
rode in. That's what you do when people live together.
Not when it gets impounded. He got it impounded.
Listen,
What about
Miss
when
Ellsworth.
You didn't have a car for a while, and I was
Mr.
driving you
Sanchez,
working
you
back.
want your mother to slap you upside the head?
No.
She's going to do it. Right?
Yeah.
Next time he opens his mouth, Miss Neary, give it to him good. You don't have a lawsuit against Mr. Sanchez. Mr. Sanchez and you live together in a monogamous, physical relationship, and I'm certain that during the time that you lived together, you went out to eat, he paid, sometimes you paid, other times you went to a movie, you went to a fair, you went out, he bought you a Frankfurter, he bought you a cup of coffee, you bought him,
I wish
whatever
it were
it
like
is.
that.
Whatever it
It's
is.
hard to be like that if you're as jealous as you are. If you weren't so jealous, it could have been better.
No.
I
Harder!
I have a restraining order on him.
Harder! Judgment for the
Aubrey,
plaintiff,
there's
that
a
is
court-
Miss Neary, in the amount of $1,850. Your lawsuit with regard to Mr. Sanchez is dismissed. That's all.
Why is that excuse me step out?
He became violent with me, and he started stalking me, following me, going to my job.
As far as harassing and stalking, she was the one writing me letters all day in class and following me and my new girlfriend outside of school.
He wanted to marry me. He wanted to be with me. It became an obsession that became violent and physical.
She stalked me a couple times where I had to call the cops on her and almost have her put in jail.
It got to the point to where my work was saying, I'll put the restraining order on him for you if you don't.
She's mad because I don't want to get back with her.
And you were working at the same place where Mr. Alvarez was working. What do you do for a living?
I was a server. First, I started as a hostess, and I ended up as a server.
And what about Mr. Alvarez?
He was my manager.
Now, you decided to join an employee program, but not an official program, for savings.
Yeah.
Tell me how it worked.
It's kind of like something to save money. The person in charge gets 10 people together. And Johan right here was the person in charge of it. He got 10 people to participate. Then after you get the 10 people to commit to it, you get numbers, you put them in a cup, everybody gets their number. Each paycheck, you will have to give in $100. The first time you put in the $100, number one gets $1,000. Next paycheck, everybody puts in another $100. Number two gets their part of the money. I was number 11. I was the last number in it because I was planning to save my money to purchase a car.
So he was in it too?
Yeah, he was number one.
He was number one?
Yes.
Did we all draw at the same time?
No, he said since he was the person in charge, he will receive his money first, and everybody else got a number. Actually, with me, I requested number 11, so I know that by the end of it, I would have my money and I didn't have to go back and finish paying anybody.
And how much money did you put in?
$1,000.
But you quit your job before you had actually accumulated $1,000.
Yeah, I actually quit when I was, I believe, in number 3. But I also talked to him, and I told him I will be responsible enough to bring the $1,000 every date that it was supposed to be.
You mean
due.
$100?
Yeah, the $100.
And did you do that?
Yes, every time.
Who did you give the money to when you came back each week?
Okay, the next 2 numbers, he was there when I went to go drop off the money.
Yes.
So I gave them to him personally, and I asked him, since I don't work here anymore, for my safety, in case any problems happen, I would like you to sign my paper every time I give you the money.
And did he do that?
Yeah, he signed 1 through 5 all the times that I showed up that he was there. But after the 5th time, I believe he started getting weekends off, which was the days we were supposed to turn in the money. We got paid on Friday, so you would have 2 days after that to turn in your money, which was Saturday or Sunday. And then after that, I would go to the restaurant and just give it to the person personally, because we had a list, and I knew exactly who was next and who was supposed to get the money, so I would go and give it personally to the person. But when it was my turn to give the money to, I talked to Johan and told him, when can I go pick up my money? And I never got my money, so I went on Sunday.
Well, what did Mr. Alvarez say when you said, I want my money now?
Oh, well, actually, this was his excuse. He told me, Soma, you know what? I'm having problems with the money. So I told him, I understand problems happen. And he actually gave me his word that 100% that he was going to have it for the 29th.
29th of what month?
April. Actually, I showed up on the 31st, 2 days after. And I asked him if he had my money. But he had called me already, which I didn't check my voicemails, telling me he had a problem. So I was like, oh, man, we just...
Well, what did he tell you the problem was this time?
He claimed that he got pulled over by the cops and that he didn't know he had a restriction order, for his arrest, because something had happened with his license or something, and that they took him into jail and he had to pay a bailout of $1,000, which he had to use my money to get out. So I said, that's not my problem. I need...
How are you, ma'am? How you doing?
Don't ask me how I'm doing.
Okay. To begin with, when we joined this saving, everybody was aware of it.
Don't tell me what everybody was aware of. Where's her money?
I told them.
Where's her money?
The money, I do not owe her anything, okay? I told her, to begin with, to everybody, whoever's going to quit the job is not going to receive the money. I'm not going to be responsible.
Just a second. Okay.
Okay?
So, shh, please, don't speak. Now it's Mr. Alvarez's turn. So let me, take your hands off your hips. Okay. So let me understand. You say that you explained to everybody.
Exactly.
That you say that you explained to everybody that if they quit the company, they lost their money. Is that what you say?
Yes, ma'am.
And Miss Sandoval was told that if she left the company, she would lose her money.
Right.
That's what you...
Right.
Is that
That's
what you just told me?
Yes.
When did you leave the company?
I think I don't have the exact date, but I believe it was after the 3rd number. Actually, it was a day after New Year's. I remember.
So the beginning of January 2005. Yeah. When had you started to put in your money?
I started 11/26/04.
Do you get paid every week or every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. So what we're talking about is the entire month of December, which is when you would have put in your money.
Yes.
Minimally 2, maybe 3
around there.
times you contributed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct so far, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now let me see where you say he signed off on the money. Well, Mr. Alvarez, you gave her what amounts to a receipt for 5 payments.
Yeah, exactly. I told her.
Shut.
Okay.
Mr. Alvarez, let's recap what you just told me, sir. You told me that you explained to Miss Sandoval that if she left the company, she would lose her money.
Right.
She left the company after putting in 3 payments.
Yes, we had a
I'm
talk.
speaking.
Okay.
But then you accepted 2 more payments from her after she left the company, sir.
Yeah, because we had a talking.
No, we didn't.
Just a second. Well, now he's changing it, you see. Now he's changing it.
I'm not changing it. I did not finish. You didn't let me finish what I said.
You finished enough, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
They were peeing on her mattress.
We do not know that for sure.
Listen to me, sir. You know why I know that for sure? Because I don't think she peed on her own mattress.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Salma Sandoval says former co-worker Johan Alvarez scammed her out of $1,000.
Mr. Alvarez, are you trying to tell me that you never said to Miss Sandoval, because it's very easy for me to figure out, and it's very easy for me to find out by picking up the phone and calling the police, that you never said to her, I got pulled over by the police,
Sure.
and I needed $1,000 in bail?
Yes, I did.
Now, why in the world, Mr. Alvarez, would you tell her that you needed $1,000 bail if you didn't have her $1,000?
I had the money with me, okay?
No. Now we're getting somewhere, madam. Go ahead. You had the money with you.
I had the money, and I told her when I did call her, I said, I'm going to set up a day with you so I can give you the money because I don't want nobody to come to my job.
Just a minute. So now you acknowledge that she put in $1,000 to the savings plan.
No, I'm not acknowledging it. She was giving the money to somebody else.
I don't care who she was giving it to, sir.
Well, she wasn't giving it to me.
I don't care if she was giving it to you or not. The money was turned over to numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It was now her time. She has turned in the money so that everybody got paid in full $1,000. Now you've got the $1,000 and you get pulled over by the police.
I did not have the $1,000 with me. I told her that I was going to be responsible to give the money so we could get over with it. Because she was calling me on the phone and harassing me. She went to my job. She bring the boyfriend out there that she has. She bring him to try to fight.
Did you use $1,000 for bail?
No. Not her money. It was my money.
Just a second.
It was my money.
No, it wasn't.
You
got your money already.
No, it was my money. Okay, so...
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes, ma'am.
She's telling me the truth, that you told her, I had your money, but I got into trouble and I needed to use the $1,000 for bail. She didn't make that up, sir.
Your Honor, I did have money on me. Okay, I did not have to use her money. The only thing was she was coming to me. She was harassing me on my job. She went to tell everybody on my job that I was a thief and I'm stealing money.
You are. You took her money.
Then
you are. You took her money.
Ma'am, and then she didn't stop that. She went to the president of the company to tell him.
Good for you. Good for you.
Exactly.
Because he told me that he was going to lend them the money.
And then the president of the company called me and said, get it over with. I don't want to hear it.
And I'm telling you the same thing, my dear.
And then
the first person who got paid this $1,000 was who?
It was me.
And the last person that's going to get paid this $1,000 is her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all.
Bodies are excused. You may step out.
I knew he was going to try to lie. He lied to me more than 5 times.
He went to try to intimidate me, I guess.
I didn't threaten him. What I told him was he needed to cough up money.
I feel like he didn't try to scam me, but he got caught up in a way where...
Yep. Yes.
Better. According to your complaint, you and your ex-husband got together and decided to purchase a used car for your daughter.
Yes, Ashley.
And each of you was going to contribute $400 to the car.
Yes.
According to you, you gave your husband $400 to buy this car. The car somehow was registered in the name of Miss Palmucci.
Yes.
Your daughter drove the car for a period of time, and then, for whatever reason, Miss Palmucci took the car back.
Yes.
You want your $400 back.
Correct.
Miss Palmucci said it was always her car. Step up, sir. What's your last name?
Mar.
How long have you and your former wife been divorced?
About 4 or 5 years now.
And how long have you and Miss Palmucci been together?
About 7 years.
So I assume you and your wife were separated for a long time before you divorced.
Yes.
How old was your daughter when you left the house?
Like 13, 12, 13, like that.
How old?
10.
10?
They're not always good with dates. Whose idea was it to get this used car for your daughter?
It was my idea.
Where did you find the car?
My niece had it. She was selling the car.
Did your wife, former wife, give you $400 towards the car? Look at me.
It was my understanding that check that she gave me was for the work I did for her at her house a week prior to that. And I gave $200.
How much was the car?
The car altogether was $700.
Did you have a conversation with your former wife with regard to her contributing to the car?
The only conversation that we had was with my daughter and myself and Mary about the car. There was no verbal conversation about the car between me and my ex-wife.
Did you have a conversation with your father about the car?
Yes.
Step up. Tell me your first name.
Ashley.
Ashley, Tell me about when you had this conversation with your father about the car.
Well, I was at work and he called and asked me if I wanted to discuss with my mother about getting the car from my cousin.
Well, what specifically did he say?
He said, do you think your mother would go half in buying a car for you? I said, yeah, she would. So I went out and she said, yeah, that's a good idea.
Did your father tell you how much the car was?
Yes.
How much did he say it was?
$700.
And did you tell your mother how much it was?
Yes.
Who did you give the money to?
My ex-husband.
When?
I gave it to him on July 28th.
Did you give it to him in check or cash?
Check.
How much did you give him?
$400.
Why did you give him $400?
Because I was told that the car was $800, and later on, after I had paid it, my daughter had said it was only $700.
Did you originally tell your mother it was $800?
I think I might have.
What date did you get the car?
July 31st.
July 30th.
And when was the car taken back from you?
It was August 21st.
Mr. Marr, you did have a discussion with your daughter about her mother going half for the car. Unless you're calling your daughter a liar. Are you calling your daughter a liar?
Me and Ashley discussed it. We didn't discuss anything with my ex-wife.
Are you telling me that you didn't say to your daughter you think your mom would go half with me on a used car for you?
No, it didn't take place, that conversation.
Really?
Yep.
Tell me the work that you did for your ex-wife that you thought she was paying you for.
I put a liner in the pool and a skimmer also.
Did you arrive at a price with her?
No, it wasn't. We didn't compromise the price.
Well, how much did you spend for the liner?
I didn't spend for anything. She bought the liner and I put it in. I installed it and the skimmer.
How long did it take you?
Half a day, about 4 or 5 hours.
So what you're telling me, Mr. Marr, is you want me to believe, sir, that you thought that this $400 was your labor in putting in the half a day?
Yeah, that I paid my brother-in-law with the other $200. Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though you had not come up with an amount with your wife for what the job was going to be?
No, since she doesn't make that much money, I was just happy with whatever she gave me, that's all.
Mr. Marr, you're full of baloney, sir. Absolutely, positively, 100% full of baloney. If something doesn't make sense in this world, Mr. Marr, it's not true. If something makes sense, it's usually true. What makes sense is you having a discussion with your daughter and saying you think your mom would go half with me on a car for you, and giving her an inflated amount of $800 because that would have covered the tags and the registration, whatever it was to get it on the road. And she going to her mother and saying, would you do that? And her mother said, sure. And her mother hands you a check for $400. You don't even ask what it's for. You say, don't know. It's for the swimming pool. It's for the liner. It's for the work. It's for the, I don't know what this is for. Thank you very much for the check. Then you register the car in your girlfriend's name. What happens to her $400 when you take back the car?
I didn't register the car.
She registered the car.
Because I wrote out the check for the $700, which I have, and I paid for everything else, including the insurance.
Then you got it, Miss Palmucci. He scammed you out of $400.
Who scammed me out of $400?
He did.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Because he got paid $400. So if you wrote out the entire check of $700 plus putting tags and registration on the car, then your boyfriend scammed you out of $400 because he got half of it from his ex-wife, which was supposed to pay
either
for
way,
the car.
the money comes out of a joint checking account, which him and I have, so he didn't scam me out of anything, because that's also where the check is deposited.
Yeah.
Into the account that we both have.
Let me see everything, please. I want to see all the paperwork, please. Going to resolve this right away.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
These two people decided to buy her a car. He's afraid to tell you that.
The conversation between him...
Try not to speak over me. You will not be successful.
And later today...
Things need to be paid. She offers to pay for those things. I wasn't going to say no.
Why not?
Somebody offers me money. Who am I to say no?
A creep.
Judy. Pamela Marr claims her ex-husband's girlfriend, Mary Palmucci, illegally titled a Chevy Cavalier in her name. Pamela says the car was supposed to be a gift to her daughter, Ashley.
Why is the certificate of title all mangled?
She attempted to take it from my house and tore it in doing that.
Where's the car now?
In my driveway.
Who drives it?
Nobody right now.
Why not?
It's not registered and insured.
Does it still drive?
Yeah, it still
there's
drives.
nothing wrong with it.
Oh, good. You want to give him $350 for this car?
Sure.
Yes. Good, because that's all they paid for. They said they paid $700.
In addition to the insurance, the registration, the title, the amount that I had to have it towed in order to get the vehicle back.
Shouldn't have done that. Because
well,
you didn't get
the only
whole
other
story.
choice that I was given by the police department
Listen
was
to
that I
me.
should file
You
a
didn't get
complaint
the
of
whole
theft.
story, madam. The whole story was these two people have a child together. They decided to buy her a car. He's afraid to tell you that.
The conversation
I'm
between
speaking.
him...
Try not to speak over me. You will not be successful. You got yourself in the middle of it, and you shouldn't have. But she's going to give you $350. You get the other $400 from him, because that's what she paid him for the car, and you're going to sign over the title to her right now.
I can't sign the title until after the other case goes to court.
What other case?
There's another case that's going to court on the 14th of November.
For what?
Her claim against him for assault.
Her claim against him for assault?
Here's the paperwork. You want to see that,
Can I
too?
see it, please? It has nothing to do with the title to the car.
It does. It's in there. It says that she went there and that she attempted to get the title to the car.
I gotcha. We'll give you a copy of this tape. You take it, you show it, and you indicate to the judge who hears that case, if a judge is going to hear that case, that you were directed to, and you have agreed and acknowledged to follow my direction. You're going to sign this over to her, and she's going to give you $350. Bird, have her sign it right now. You created a whole lot of trouble, Mr. Marr, by not being honest with the women in your life. Sign it.
So let's sign here.
You have now purchased the car yourself. Do you understand?
Yes.
She gets $350. Now she's whole because she's going to take his $400 because they have a joint bank account. You got it?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's ruined a good relationship he had with his 3 daughters. He has no relationship with them now. It's just really, really sad that he would do this to his own daughters.
She'd rather go the avenue of making up lies and causing a problem between people. That's the results that she gets.
It's his fault. He ruined everything with me and my sisters, and there's going to be nothing more.
They want to continue to cause...
All parties in the matter of Lahore versus Tatum, step forward, please.
Desiree Loire claims ex-boyfriend Anthony Tatum owes for unpaid rent from their shared apartment. Desiree also says Anthony slashed her comforter and put a hole in the wall.
I have a feeling it's advice time. Miss Loire, this used to be your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you also shared an apartment with him.
Yes.
You claim he owes you a whole bunch of money, dating back to 2005. You do know we're in 2007 now.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Tatum says he owes you nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice-looking couple. How old are you?
21.
And you?
22.
And you moved in together when you were 19 and you were 20.
Correct.
Old enough to sign a contract?
Yes.
Definitely.
So you signed a lease together?
Multiple.
Multiple leases together?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not talking about all the leases you signed together. I'm talking about the last one after you moved out, because that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. And it is claim that you moved out, you owed her rent, you damaged some of her property, and you loaned him money in 2005 for some car insurance. That you don't remember. Do you work?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work do you do?
I work at a Japanese restaurant as a bartender.
And you?
I'm a student.
How do you support yourself?
Currently, my parents do, ma'am.
Have you ever supported yourself?
For the past 3 years, yes.
So you just went back to school?
Yes, ma'am.
What were you doing for the last 3 years?
I was selling cars.
Did you make a living at it?
Very much so.
Why did you decide to go back to school?
I made a life-changing mistake of driving under the influence and lost my license.
That's a reason.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you injure anybody?
No, ma'am.
How long is your license suspended for?
It's no longer suspended. I just can't be picked up by the insurance of a dealership. Therefore, I'm back in school.
Gotcha. Okay. That was life-changing.
Very much. Learned a life lesson.
So I'm going to give you both another one. Don't ever move in with somebody and sign a lease together. Single people who want to try living together should always get an apartment that each of them can afford separately. Isn't that a smart idea?
Absolutely.
So that if it doesn't work out, somebody says, this is my apartment, that was our agreement, you leave, I can pay the rent all by myself. Of course, I understand that by saying this, I will probably lose 40% of the cases that I try each year. But I'm willing to make that sacrifice for the purpose of the common good. Right?
You will not lose a single case.
You know, he says that because nobody's going to listen to me. But if they did listen, there's a certain wisdom in what I say.
Yes, it is.
That way, 2 people wouldn't be homeless, 2 people wouldn't have their credit in the toilet, two people would not have to go back to mama or whatever. You would be able to separate and say, it didn't work out. So you signed this lease together when?
In September of 2005.
And when did you move out, sir?
October 30th of 2005.
Are you still living in the apartment?
No, I'm not.
When did you move out?
February of 2006.
So you only stayed there for a couple of months?
I was there for 6 months.
November, December, January. You stayed till the end of February?
September to the end of February.
I'm not talking about September. He left in October. Did you pay October's rent?
Yes, ma'am.
No, he did not.
Well, I didn't know that. How do I know that? 2 years ago. Let's talk about November, December, and January. 3 months that you lived there that he didn't.
Right.
Who lived with you there for those 3 months?
Nobody. I lived by myself. He refused to sign off the lease, so I was unable to.
You say there was somebody else living in the apartment?
Yes, ma'am. Her friend Tracy, who is also my friend, and her witness's friend moved in at the beginning of November.
How do you know that, sir?
Because I went over there and she was living there.
You went over there when?
To get the rest of my stuff at the beginning of November.
How do you know she was living there?
Because my friend was her boyfriend at the time and he was also going over there.
That's completely untrue.
Did she stay there?
She stayed there occasionally. If we would.
How occasionally?
A couple nights a week. If we went out, she'd stay over. But no, she did not pay rent. None of her things were there.
Well, you should have. How to pay rent? How many bedrooms in this apartment?
1.
Where did she sleep when she stayed over?
In my bed.
So?
Well, I don't think someone who stays 2 nights a week should have to pay rent.
Why not?
I guess.
Was it your agreement with him to move out?
I asked him to move out, yes, because
then
he
you
was
pay the rent.
not paying rent.
Then you pay the rent.
Well, he should have signed off the lease, which he refused to.
And what did you do?
I couldn't do anything. He wouldn't sign off the lease. He kept threatening to come back and get the copies of the keys so he could come in and...
Madam, where were you the last 2 years?
The last 2 years, I've had my own apartment and house, and I've working and going to school.
But where were you in the last 2 years? If you moved out in 2006, now we're talking about a year ago.
Yes.
Where were you in this last year?
I was trying to collect money from him, but...
But he weren't collecting. He didn't give you any money.
Exactly. I couldn't.
Well, then why didn't you sue him in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December? Why?
I was trying to be understanding of his situation with his car and everything like that, and he couldn't hold a job, so there's no way that he could give me any money.
What made you stop being understanding?
Well, because I'm just tired. It's ridiculous.
You lived in the apartment with sometimes Tracy? You pay the rent. What else?
He damaged my property, my couch, and stabbed my comforter.
Forget the comforter. I'm not interested in the 2-year-old comforter. How did he damage your couch?
He poured beer and dip spit all over it.
When?
On November 21st.
That's not true, ma'am.
You have a witness to that?
I do.
Go ahead.
On the day of November 21st, Desiree called me crying. I got over there. There was a gigantic hole in the wall when I walked in. The entire living room was trashed, stuff everywhere, food thrown around.
Where was he?
He was nowhere to be found.
Well, so you didn't see him do anything?
He was there that morning.
He was there that morning.
Just a second. You didn't see him do anything?
No, I didn't see him do anything, but the people that had stayed the night prior to that had seen him come over in the morning.
Goodbye. Thank you. You have that Mr. Tatum was the cause of any damage to your property.
Well, because he called me screaming after he did it.
What did he say?
I can't believe you had those guys stay the night.
What guys is he talking about?
We had been drinking at my apartment. I had friends stay the night.
How many friends?
2. They had slept on the couch. And that's when he came over that morning to get his things.
Yes.
And he freaked out.
How do you know that?
Well, because they told me they were there. And then he came in with a tire iron and hit the wall.
What?
And poured everything on my couch.
You have absolutely no proof that he did any of that.
And
if you have 2 friends that you allowed to sleep at your house after they were drinking who witnessed him do it...
They didn't witness him do it. They witnessed him come in and make a scene, and then they left, and then he came back after that. He told me. I talked to him on the phone afterwards.
Did you ever acknowledge to her that you destroyed her property?
No, ma'am.
Time to move on. Time to move on and get over it. Do you understand?
Yes.
This is a court. Not nonsense. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Happy how everything went today. I'm glad to be able to put this